William Shakespeare wrote in Hamlet Act 1, Scene 3, "This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow, as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man." This is the Producers Lounge podcast, the best podcast online for tips and tricks on producing great film, television, and web content. Welcome back for Season 3, Episode 23, hosted and produced by GreaterAndGrander.com. On this week's episode, we're chatting with Reem Edan, who has produced live shows, independent shorts, and viral web content. We discuss producing your own work versus producing other people's creative projects, figuring out what to say and not to say, how the studio system differs from the independent creator model, analytics, and how to use your background as an advantage. Reem is of Iraqi descent, growing up in Colorado, and is an award-winning writer and internationally touring stand-up comedian who transitioned from marketing to several prestigious programs including NBC Late Night Writing Workshop, MGM Writing Program, Disney Television Discovers Talent Showcase, and more. This is a short and sweet one, and listening to Reem riff on comedy topics was an absolute delight. Here now is my conversation with Reem Edan.
All right, good. We're rolling.
You feel good about that? I love it.
All right.
Guess I should have peed first.
Oops, sorry.
I know. I'll hold it.
Here.
I just drove up from San Diego.
Okay.
It's funny because I constantly want to tan, but then I always sit in the shade.
Okay, you and I are both Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Aren't we always tan?
We always are. And you know what the funny thing is? Tans don't look good on me. Like,
Really?
what do you want to talk about?
I thought we were going to talk about producing, but hey.
We can do that too. Fine.
So what were you doing in San Diego?
I was doing comedy shows because now my full-time gig is stand-up comedy and writing. So I did this really cool show called Don't Tell, which I'm telling about now, so it's kind of antithetical. But the show, they have them all around the U.S. It started in Southern California, and it's basically they put on comedy shows with secret lineups in secret locations, and it's never at like a comedy club proper. It's at like last night was at a photography studio. The night before was at a bar situation patio. So it's really cool venues all across the U.S. And like I said, it's like secret lineups, so it's not like all uppity, like who's going to show up, but it's really good comics, really good audiences. So I was down there for that.
Got it.
Drove up this morning.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I've had to pee since I drove up. But you know what? We're just going to power through this. At this point,
I can
nope.
turn off the mic.
Nope.
No,
this is the anti-Ramadan. We're going to keep it in.
Okay. I didn't realize Ramadan had a feeling of like get it out.
It doesn't. Oh, well, I guess. Well, Ramadan is don't let it in. But right now we're just keeping everything.
Got it. I know Ramadan was going on a month ago. Is it still going on now? Or?
No, it's over.
Oh.
Yeah. Every year. That's the weird thing about it. It's based on the lunar calendar. So every year it changes. It gets earlier every year. So it's not like Christmas or like a holiday you can anticipate. You have to do like lunar calculations and like astrology to figure out. Well, I don't do it. Someone does. And then my mom tells me.
No, I thought you were in charge of all the Muslims.
I mean, well, I could have been in charge of astrology. That's not a stretch. Girls are like, we know what moon is happening, what's rising, what's falling, what's scraping. We know it all. We, generally speaking, I don't know anything. I really have to wait for my mom to call me and be like, hey, it's Ramadan tomorrow. Like, it is? Yes. But yeah, Ramadan's over. We're back to normal eating schedules.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Can I get you a drink?
Oh, where are your iced coffees?
Iced tea?
Iced coffee. Yeah.
Iced coffee? So we just have the regular iced coffee? Or we can do like iced lattes and stuff like that.
Can I have an iced latte, please? Okay.
What are you producing these days? Because I saw on your IMDb you're like partner of a production company. Or
Am I a part of it? I mean,
Gaggle or what?
Gaggle, yeah. That was this sketch comedy group that we produce our own shorts and comedy sketches and stuff. So now, what am I producing right now? I'm more writing right now. I'm producing sketches, producing like social media content. I'm actually signed an NDA, so I can't say the name, but I'm currently producing social media content for an investment app company.
Got it.
So that's kind of, I'm doing more like comedy, pure comedy stuff, but more digital
Okay.
comedic sketch content. TikToks.
As an independent content creator, you kind of have to because that's your.
Yeah. 100%. I can't believe I'm getting paid to make TikToks right now, but it really is production. Like we have scripts. There's I'm working with production companies on it and ideating with them, brainstorming with them, executing it with clients and stuff. So it's interesting because as an individual content creator, it's the exact same thing as working with a production company, but on a smaller scale. So you have to be just as organized.
Got it.
Have another, like a streamlined workflow of how you're going to get content made. It's it's nice to take like the skills I learned from the production world and from the studio world, and then put them towards this individual career.
Right.
Yeah.
And that actually points to how we met. We both met when we were working at Paramount.
Yeah. Well, you were in post, right? What were you doing at Paramount?
I was a manager of digital post services, and I used to joke around like, if Paramount had a basement, I would be under it.
That's hilarious. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
When did you leave there?
I left June 19th of 2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and you left.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
I left in 2013. I was only there for a few months.
Oh.
Yeah, I was a part of the Red Wedding. Do you remember that? It was like there was like a huge layoff at Paramount, and they called it the Red Wedding.
Oh.
Because I guess like a Game of Thrones reference.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not butchering that.
But Paramount has, they always did that. Every 12 to 18 months, they just let go a bunch of people.
Yeah, I feel like the studios all do that in their own way. There's always, there's a studio shuffle where people go from one studio to the next studio, or like studios lay off. I've been laid off twice. It's fine. I tell people getting laid off is the best thing that can ever happen to you. It really is, depending on the severance package. Thank you. Yeah, I love getting laid off because oftentimes you get complacent, and it's hard to make a decision, especially when you're thinking about healthcare and what's my next plan and how much do I have saved up and who's gonna look at my skill set and give me a shot, et cetera, et cetera. But when you get laid off, you have no choice but to make a decision and to reevaluate your career and your choices and really check in with yourself and see if you're happy or not.
Yeah.
So I got laid off, and I went to Disney from there. Also it was always in publicity, marketing and publicity.
Okay.
I was at Disney for just over a year, and then went to STX Entertainment after that. But it's funny because the entire time I was at these studios, I was trying to move over to production. I was like, I want to be a producer. I want to produce my own content.
Yeah.
And I found myself so pigeonholed by my marketing background. Because,
interesting.
Yeah, I feel like that's the biggest lie about the entertainment industry is everyone's like, just get your foot in the door. Just get in.
Right.
And then you can adjust from there. And I found that to be insanely difficult.
Thank you very much.
Are you guys ready to order? I need a minute.
What are you going to order?
Oh, God, I haven't even thought of it.
We need a couple minutes, yeah. Thank you. Do you have when the waiters come and talk, is that included in the podcast?
Sometimes, yeah.
Cute.
Actually, one of the podcasts I had here, he was also a comedian, and he was actually Groucho Marx's assistant. And so he had all these stories, and the waiter would come by and he would tell all the jokes for the waiter.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna get the waffle. I'm in a waffle mood.
I'm in a sweet mood too. Is the waffle here the thing to get? I kind of want pancakes.
Pancakes are good here too. Fruit salad's good. Breakfast burrito's good. I'm trying to think of all the things.
Salad is unnatural. Nobody should eat fruit salads. Pancakes and more. Banana pancakes. Oh, yes. White chocolate? No. Banana pancakes. That's who I am today.
Okay.
Yeah, so I feel like it was so much more difficult than I had anticipated to move over from marketing.
Right.
Because it's once you start out on a path, people kind of see you as that person.
Right.
And it's hard for them to understand that you want to do something else. So I took it upon myself around the time that we met to just produce my own stuff on the weekends. I would volunteer to go on sets, small films, independent projects and stuff. On the weekends in my off time, I'd go to any open PGA events, stuff like that. Because I was like, well, if you want to be a producer, just start meeting producers and start, producing and start. You don't need that. So I tried to kind of straddle both the business side of the entertainment industry and creative side. What I wish I would have done then is work on my own projects in a sense of film sketches or something like that, because it wasn't until 5 years of me living in LA, about 3 to 4 years of me living in LA, did I realize I wanted to do comedy specifically. I'd always been a funny person. Right. I should have created or written my own comedy films or pilots back then, not realizing that to write is to be able to produce and stuff. I kind of came at it from if I just start producing someone else's stuff, that's how I'll learn, which is fine. But knowing that I would end up being, a creator, I wish I would have done that earlier instead of kind of keeping one foot in the door of marketing while I tried to figure out everything else. Because if I would have just dived into what I wanted to do and figured out the money, I would have probably been in a different place right now.
Yeah, I definitely made that same mistake trying to produce other people's material. Mm-hmm. And, I had some early strides, early feathers in my cap, but the truth is, it just, it didn't pan out. And then only recently I started really making my own stuff.
Oh, nice.
Hardcore, yeah.
What are you making right now?
Well, during the pandemic, I directed and produced a series of very esoteric, experimental films called Dear Los Angeles.
Okay.
And then last year, I actually pitched to this company called Tongle. Mm-hmm. They had an open call. Have you heard of Tongle?
Yes.
Okay. So they had an open call of like, hey, we want to put stuff on our YouTube channel, comedy mockumentaries, stuff that the Ken Burns format, but stuff about that Ken Burns would never talk about.
Yeah.
So I pitched the 2007 reality show, A Shot at Love with Felix Gill.
Nice.
And they were so impressed with that they said, we want you to do 4 more over the course of 2020.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And they funded it and everything?
They funded it, and
Sick.
yeah, I'm doing editing on the second one now.
Nice.
It is a bitch and a half.
That's funny. Why?
I decided with this mockumentary to do 2 cameras. And the problem is, once you do 2 cameras, you don't realize it, but not only does your problems get like 2 times more difficult, it actually gets 10 times more difficult. It's 2 cameras, 2 set dressings, 2 actors, 2 backgrounds, 2 mics. You know. So doing that, and then hopefully I'll be turning in the cut by the end of this week.
That's great.
Thanks.
Congrats, dude. Has it been rewarding?
It's been rewarding. It's also been educational.
Yeah.
Because, you go, like, I don't know if you went through film school or not.
I did not.
I
wasted my money on something else.
That's
Sorry,
okay.
I wasted my dad's money on something else.
Same.
Yeah. Every time I'll joke around with my dad because I'm like, it's not fair that all my other friends, their parents like pay for things. They're like, oh, my dad like pays for my cell phone bill, or like when the kids fly home for Christmas or whatever holiday, like their parents pay for it and mine don't. And I'm like, why? Why can't we be like everybody else? He's like, I paid for your college. I was like, okay, yeah, but like that was many years ago. Can we come back? Like, are there additional benefits to being your child? Even with my stand-up comedy, it's like there's things I want to talk about that no one's told me not to talk about. But there are just certain cultural boundaries and limits that I have.
Right.
That's kind of, I'm wrestling with that right now. It's very specifically like in the last couple weeks, I've really been thinking about like what I want to say, and if I'm like what I have to say, and like what I'm trying to contribute to the conversation, as opposed to just being funny and making funny content. So
got it. Makes sense. But back to film school. You go through film school. I went through actually 2 film school programs, and they try to teach you what making film is like, but it's really not what it's actually like.
yeah,
And especially like going to USC, they tried to teach you the studio, which is where you raise funds and you have a big, crew.
yeah,
And that's just not how content works nowadays. It's all about being a single creator, putting out content, and just hoping that it hits on completely on your own.
yeah. I agree, and I think too, marketing plays a huge role in it. I think I shied away. I mean, at the beginning of my transition from marketing to content creator, I think it felt like a chip on my shoulder because I was like, oh, I wasted so much time and and I wish I would have created, etc. But I think today it's so hand in hand with like understanding who your target demographic is and discovering your niche and how are you going to like service them with content. Like half of it is creating the content, but half of it is understanding your analytics and how to like amplify your voice and how to better serve yourself and market yourself for these future opportunities.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah.
You mentioned analytics, and there's a lot, if you look in certain places, there's a lot of analytics to be had. Facebook has analytics, YouTube has analytics, Google has analytics. When you're trying to evaluate that, to maximize reach to your audience, what strategy do you use when you're analyzing?
Oh, great. Thanks for asking that. Absolutely fucking none. I don't have any strategy. I'm so mad at myself. It's like the one thing where I'm like, you have this background. You should use it. So whoever's listening to this, just know that no one has it figured out. Even the people who look like they do. I will say, like, sometimes when I work with brands, they're like, in fact, recently I was going to a Coachella event. And it was like, you had to apply to go to this event because it's like this festival party. And it was all like influencers. And I don't really consider myself I guess I do, but not really. More of a comedian. But they're like, okay, how many females follow you? And of that percentage, where are they in the world? And how many followers? And what is their engagement hours? I was like, fuck off. Like, I don't want your free tequila shots. Get away from me. So people will sometimes ask for analytics. What I will do, the main way I use my analytics is to see, all right, where is my audience right now? And that helps me determine when to post my content. So I tend to post my content before 11 a.m. because I have a large following in the Eastern Hemisphere, like in the Middle East and in India and stuff. So it's beneficial for me to try to reach both audiences to post earlier in the day. So that's something that it helps with. My male to female ratio split doesn't really help me because it's not like I'm making content for a gender or not. So that's just interesting to know. So I have more male followers, so I have more thirst traps posted. I'm just kidding. But that's true. But yeah, I think it's like for me too. Recently, I've been going through this like renaissance reevaluation of my content because a lot of it was like figuring out what my voice was with stand-up comedy and then like translating that to social media. And now that I have a grasp of like what my voice is and what works, I'm going back and looking at my content and trying to understand what went viral and why. Because certain things went viral because of just the comedy factor, right? So it's like, things I pranked my parents once and that went very viral in both the Arabic speaking and English speaking community because I have a split just because of my international background. So things sometimes go viral because they're just really funny. Other things go viral because it like plays on the character. Other things go viral because there's like a trend and I jumped in on the trend and added something specific. So I'll look at what's working for me and try to replicate that or take learnings from that. Not necessarily because it like had X amount of likes or views or whatever, but just to kind of guide me on the right path. Like, this seems to have worked. What else can I do that would work as well?
Okay.
And sometimes I haven't been good at this. Generally speaking, looking at where the drop off is in your videos. So if you have YouTube videos or TikToks or whatever, and people stop watching after 30 seconds, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's boring. People have short attention spans. So even if they liked it, they might not finish the video. So that's a general learning to take forward is like, all right, instead of making like a 3-minute long TikTok, because you can now, I should probably make it under a minute. And then even now with like these brands that I'm working with, they're like, 15 to 30 seconds is the sweet spot. Yes.
What can I get for you?
I will have the Belgian waffle. And does that come with strawberries or strawberry?
It comes with strawberries and powdered sugar. Perfect, yes.
Can I have a banana pancakes, please?
Banana pancakes? You want to do the 2 or the 4?
2.
2 banana pancakes? Anything else we got?
Does it come with any sides?
The banana pancakes? We could do like the combo.
I don't want sides, so I just wanted to make sure.
No, yeah, we could just do a la carte.
Cool. Thank you. What were we talking about? Yeah, so it's like I look at like view time sometimes, but it's more so what I've more so learned as well is I need to be much more intentional with my content because sometimes there's this pressure or anxiety you feel and you're like, I just need to post. I just need to be consistent and keep posting. So I'll post B-level, C-level content just as filler as opposed to like really thinking something through and like writing it out and then filming it the way I want to and being intentional because when I do that, then they blow up in a good way. And so that's a general learning.
Okay. And do you post, because you have an international audience, do you post in English and Arabic? Or?
Yeah, that's also something I'm like toying. I'm like 90% English, 10% Arabic, or sometimes I'll do a little Araglish, which is like combining the two and I'll just caption it so that I can reach both audiences because I'm trying to, like my cultural identity, it does definitely color in my perspective and my jokes. And even like if I'm trying to comment on like a family dynamic or something, like I can't leave that out of it, right? But I also don't want to alienate American audiences because I consider myself American or Arab American. So that's something I'm very aware of is like being a hybrid and not alienating either audience, right? Like exposing my westernized friends to, Eastern dynamics and jokes and all that stuff, but at the same time doing the reverse.
Okay, got it. Where did you grow up?
I grew up. I just burped. I wonder if the mic's going to pick that up. I was born and raised in Fort Collins, Colorado, which doesn't have a fort. Fun fact.
Okay.
It does not. Fort Collins, Colorado. My dad was a student at Colorado State University, so that's why we were there.
Got it.
And then the kids were all born there. They never really intended to live in Colorado. My dad was here on scholarships. They were actually going to go back to Iraq, and then the war happened. And interestingly enough, what's happening with Russia right now happened with Iraq in like the early 90s.
Interesting.
Yeah, so like basically like the trade embargo, financial institutions shut down, embassies shut down. They basically kicked all Iraqis out of the U.S. But my parents couldn't leave because their passports had expired and the embassies were shut down. So they were just like stuck in the United States, and they were students. So they were dependent on like scholarship money from the government to survive, but the money stopped coming because there was no way to transfer money, and their family couldn't send them money because there was no way. Like they would send money, but it just got lost in the ether somewhere. So that's something I recently learned as the whole Russia-Ukraine thing happened. I was talking to my parents about it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's how I ended up living in the U.S. Granted, I had a passport because I was born here, but yeah, my parents were even able to go back for like several years. I want to say like it took my mom 20 years to go back. My dad, I think he was like 30 years to go back. But they became naturalized citizens and all that jazz. So but most of my life was in Colorado, with the exception of I lived in the Middle East for just about 4 years in on an island called Bahrain. There's I think there's a naval base there. I lived there. My dad was a professor at that time, so we did my little cultural experience. That was fun. Came back, finished school in Colorado, came to LA. There was like a stint in New York and Spain and stuff, but that was little bit.
Just traveling New York.
Just sprinkles of Spain and Nueva York. Which was a lot of fun. Where'd you grow up?
Stamford, Connecticut.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, you can't get much whiter than Connecticut. But yeah.
I've been there. Found that out the hard way.
Yes. What was your impression of Connecticut?
Well, I heard Hartford, Connecticut is the insurance capital of the world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That was my impression of Connecticut. I was performing at some university. I think it was my first college performing at. And I was like so nervous because when you perform at colleges, you have to do an hour by yourself. No opener. You just go, show up, do an hour of stand-up to kids in an auditorium. And I don't even think I had an hour of material at that point. I think I had like 40 minutes. And my agent was like, it's fine, just do a Q&A at the end. And I was like, got it. And so then I went up and I was doing my jokes. And I took the bus there. I flew to New York, and then I took a bus. Oh, actually, I'll tell you what my impression of Hartford was. So I took a bus. I get dropped off in downtown Connecticut. And then I was supposed to take another bus. But I didn't have change, and I don't carry cash because I'm a millennial. Like, why would I need cash? And so I was like, can I purchase a ticket online? They're like, no. I was like, can I use a credit card? They're like, no. And I was like, I'm sitting here at a bus stop asking strangers if I could Venmo them for cash. And they're like, what's Venmo? And I was like, okay. So I walked into a hotel, like a Holiday Inn. I was like, hi, do you guys have cash? A lady gives me $1, and she's like, this one's on me. And I was like, wow, thank you so much. I'm mortified at this point. I run back outside, and the bus left. I was like, God damn it!
Hey everyone, quick break here. If you listen to the Producers Lounge podcast, you know I'm obsessed with how stories get made and who gets to make them. That's why I wrote Threads of Imagination, a book about collaborative storytelling and the art of building worlds together. Published by DSTL Arts nonprofit, which supports young BIPOC artists, the book pulls from my own personal history and even from my family history and the tradition of itinerant tribes telling stories around the campfire. Threads of Imagination is a guide to collaborative storytelling and how ideas grow, evolve, and become something bigger when people create together. Whether you're a filmmaker, writer, artist, or just someone who loves the process behind good stories, this book gives you practical tools, creative prompts, and real-world insights to elevate your craft. That's right, Threads of Imagination is full of exercises, behind-the-scenes lessons, and inspiration to help you create with purpose and community. If you're looking to jumpstart your next project or sharpen your storytelling instincts, this is the place to go. You can find Threads of Imagination wherever books are sold online. All right, back to the Producers Lounge podcast.
God damn it! And so I ended up taking an Uber through to this university. Anyway, so I get there. I'm already a little nervous. And I said a joke that wasn't even that bad. But college campuses are very, very sensitive to specific things. Like you have to perform clean. That's understood. Right. But there's some cultural references that make white kids uncomfortable because they're not sure if they're allowed to laugh at things. So I had said, this is back when Trump was president. I was like, I'm Muslim, Arab, and Iraqi. The only thing scarier than being those three things in America today is simultaneously looking Mexican. That's not that bad. Like, they were like, oh, and that used to be like one of my opening lines. And as a comic, you need to get a laugh fast so that you feel comfortable, that you establish like a trust with the audience. And when I didn't get that laugh, it threw me off so hard that I forgot all of my jokes. Like, and I have never, that was, I don't really get, people ask me if I get stage fright. I do not. Only thing I'm ever afraid of is forgetting my jokes. Because sometimes you're in the moment, you're like stream of consciousness and it's fine. Or sometimes like you're trying to remember a bit that you just wrote and it just doesn't, your brain operates differently. Yeah. And in that moment, it was my first time doing an hour. So I was so nervous about like making sure I followed the script, and I forgot the script completely. And at that point, I was like, it was a very sink or swim moment for me, because at that point, I wasn't good at crowd work. I had never attempted it before, which is interesting, because you think it comes naturally, and it should. I think I just got in my head about it. I was like, how do you, it's not as easy as having a conversation. It actually is, but like, you have to understand like a little bit of the math of it. Like, you ask an open-ended question, you comment on something, you ask for their name. There's certain rules you have to follow so that it's like funny. And I remember I had talked to my agent. I was like, I want to get good at crowd work. I don't know how. And she told me about it. And I was like, yeah, we'll see. And I didn't really test it out until I forgot all my jokes. And I was like, crowd work it is. So for 45 minutes, I was just doing crowd work. It was wild. It was a wild journey. At one point, I got a student was telling me about her psychology project and how part of the project was she had to propose to 7 strangers, like propose engagement to 7 strangers. And I was like, well, come on stage right now and burn 2 minutes from my contract. I'm contractually obligated to speak for 60 minutes. So let's talk on stage. Everyone was like, you're so funny in the moment. I was like, I had to be. So.
But it's not just you. Like, there's a lot of comedians, like Bobby Lee, for example. I've run into him a couple times.
Yeah.
And he said, like, he hates improv, he hates comedy work, it's terrifying.
Yeah. Because it's like, as the comedian, you're in control. You're the captain of the room.
Right.
It's a very empowering feeling to, like, be able to sway the emotions of a room.
Right.
Of hundreds of people, if you want thousands of people. So you're giving up some power. Like, it's very vulnerable because some people think they're funnier than you or try to outsmart you. And that's what I'm saying. It's a very delicate dynamic where, like, it could go one way or the other. Also, I tend to bully the audience sometimes because,
you can get away with it.
I can, but I should stop. Like, that's something I've been trying to be aware of. It's not mean. I'm not trying to be mean, but I'll shut you down. I'll be like, oh, of course you would think that. But it's like, it's a little mean. And I'm not a mean person. So, like, that's something I've had to be aware of is, like, you ask questions and you make comments, not like, all right, well, sit down kind of thing. That's like the tonality of it. So, yeah.
So, because I had another guest on who talked about the whole aspect of producing live comedy shows and promoting. And have you had to do that a lot?
Produce a live comedy show?
Yeah.
I have. Is my mic still good? I have produced my own shows, several of them. I've done it at comedy clubs. I've done it at, like, bars. I've done it like in the back room of a restaurant and stuff. Producing live events is different. I mean, I think I've also, like, working in publicity, you produce events. So it would be, like, premieres or screenings and stuff like that. So, like, I've always had a background in production in that sense, in, like, making sure things run smoothly and whatnot. But comedy shows, it's more so like find the venue, figure out the lineup, promote the show. It's not really too intense. You do have to be particular about, like, the lineup, the order of who goes on first, because, like, you look at a room or you look at who's there and it's like, okay, knowing this person's energy, knowing their type of comedy, like, it's sometimes it's better to put somebody who's dirtier towards the end because the room is a little bit more warmed up. If you kind of have a more blue comic open, it could go one of two ways. One, they either, like, they say the crazy shit up top and they set the pace, or, like, if it's a more conservative dynamic, a room, it might be a little weird. Put them at the end, right after we've kind of got the trust of the audience and stuff. So that definitely comes into play. But yeah, produced a few shows.
So you've done also publicity on several scales. You've done it for comedy shows, you've done it for major studios, you've done it for production companies. What was the most eye-opening realization about publicity that you encountered in your journey?
The most eye-opening thing was that publicity is just adult babysitting. It's really just babysitting actors. It's hilarious. Or not even actors, above the line, below the line. It's just babysitting and managing people's egos. I couldn't ever do personal publicity. In fact, that's one of the reasons I left publicity, because I was like, I don't care to fan the flames of somebody else's career and, like, look what amazing things this person's been up to and they won this award and stuff. Happy for you. But, like, as somebody who is a creator and an actor and a comedian and a writer and does these things myself, it's very hard to sit there and, like, live in someone's shadow and kind of be like, look at my cool friend. Like, that just wasn't, it was antithetical to my artistic journey. Like, no judgment. A lot of my friends are still in publicity, and I think it's a very necessary component of releasing any kind of project, right? You can have something be successful without reviews, sure, or critics or any of that stuff, like, or screenings, but I think it is a necessary strategy or strategical cornerstone of releasing any project is, like, how are we going to get people to talk about this? And even if it's like a piece of TikTok content, like, how is this going to, like, cross-pollinate different content creators' audiences? How is that going to help this person? Like, I get how it all works together, but at the end of the day, that was the biggest realization, was like, oh my God, we were in a room with a lot of different personalities, and it's all just, like, making kids seem cool, which is fine. But I did remember, I made a mental note on many of these, like, content days and press junkets and stuff like that, just dealing with all these personalities. I was like, one day when I become super like famous, or whenever I'm on a movie like junket or whatever it is, I'm going to be the coolest talent to work with. I'm going to be easy to work with. I'm going to be fun. I'm like going to do what they say. I'm not going to be like, I'm just going to make it a very pleasurable experience and be like friends with everybody on set. And I have, like, I haven't done a huge junket or anything yet, but the times I've been on set and stuff, different projects, and I've made it my intention to be a joy to be around, because I've seen the other side of it. And when people make your job difficult, how, unfortunate it is and how unnecessary it is, really, because we're all working towards the same thing. So.
Was there a specific person that was a particularly large murder show, even if you want to hide their identity? And
never to me personally. I never had to deal with it. I just saw it happen. Movie stars sometimes, they're not even like mean. They're just like particular about what they demand.
Right.
Waiting for them in the room and stuff like that. But at the same time, I guess it's like, you worked so hard to build yourself up to this point, like enjoy the perks, and sometimes it's not even them who are being aggressive. It's their crew. It's their, like, what are they called? Camp.
Entourage.
Yeah. Like, or their entourage, their camp, whatever it is, who are like demanding these things. Mm-hmm. So that's fine. Now it's just these funny demands that people are like, I need this, or I'm not participating in this press day. And then I once went on a wild goose hunt around Los Angeles to find a very particular gift for a director who was very angry about something very trivial. And they were like, Reem, I was a coordinator at the time. They're like, Reem, go buy a gift. And I was like, to make him feel better. And I was like, I'm on the way. And I'm like driving around Burbank trying to find this thing. It was hilarious. Mm-hmm. I should talk about this in my stand-up someday. Confessions of an ex-studio employee.
There you go. You'll get like 10, 20 minutes out of that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No utter. I've heard of nightmares. It was more so, too, less the talent sometimes and more so like the people in power who like would put on a happy face for the talent and then just be a nightmare behind the scenes. But again, not to me. I just watched it happen.
Got it.
People are nice to me.
It's funny because you talk about the managing of personalities. It's not just publicity. In fact, when I started at Paramount, I befriended one of the development executives there. And she will remain nameless. Mm-hmm. But basically, I asked for 15 minutes of her time to, as an informational interview, and just find out like what a development executive does. Because at this point, I was still debating if I wanted to go into development or physical production. Mm-hmm. And so I sat down with her, and she talked about, how an important aspect of her job was buying the right gift for Barbara Streisand. And after that 15 minutes, I realized I don't want to do this.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I once went on when I was at a studio, a starlet had a birthday, and they were like, we need to get her a gift.
Right.
Here's the credit card, go buy her some stuff. So I went to this like, little cute boutique, and I bought her. I told the lady at the front, I was like, we're buying this for this person. Uh-huh. Let's put together a basket. And I spent hours with like the fancy candles and like the alpaca blanket, very expensive. Uh-huh. And I put it all together. And then it looked great. Everyone was like, good job, Reem. And I was like, thank you. I have a college degree. Why am I doing this? And then at the end, they were like, ooh, yeah, we decided to get her designer purse instead. And all that stuff was non-returnable. And my boss was like, well, it's yours now. And I was like, woo! So I still have that very expensive bougie alpaca blanket at home. Still have that candle. I think the candle's dead. But it's a lot of things I got in that fire. So there's some perks. But yeah, there's a lot of like, what are we doing here? I have a college degree. Why am I shopping for people's gifts? Like, this is not a real job.
Where do you want to?
Yeah. That's a question I get asked a lot, and it's something I'm trying to be really intentional with. I consider myself a multi-hyphenate, right? So it's like, I'm a writer, comedian, actress, producer, who eats banana pancakes. I've been going out on auditions recently, and something I realized is I don't think other people's scripts are funny. And it's hard for me to relate to these characters, and it made me doubt myself as an actress, because I was like, why can't I do this? Am I a bad actor? Like,
right.
But I just don't really, like, in a lot of these projects that have come my way, I don't resonate with the character at all. I don't understand them, and it makes me feel inadequate to like be able to dissect a script and an arc and all these things, because it's just it just doesn't make sense. I don't know. And so that's really like helped me realize that I'm like, I just want to make my own stuff, like, and I know I'm a good writer, and I know I'm funny. Like I can prove it with just the things I've done. Stuff I can always be better, and I can always write a better script and stuff, but yeah, it made me realize that like I do want to be a movie star and I do want to like act my own stuff, but I want to write it. I want to have a part in creating these characters because then I can act it better. It's not clicking for me. So it's a long way of saying like I want to, you know, write my own film, write my own TV shows. I pitched a TV show recently, like, and just and do that, create my own content that I'm like starring in. Kind of like what Amy Schumer did. You know, she had like her sketch show, and then, you know, that led into like projects that she's like written on and stuff like that, and like her films and whatnot, while still doing stand up. So I want to do it all, but I want more control over it.
Got it. Is that in part, and I'll let you eat your pancakes this far.
No, let's talk.
Is that in part because you are going on auditions for the stereotypical Muslim woman?
You know, it's not stereotypical Muslim woman because now they've expanded it. Okay. Now it's Middle Eastern, South Asian, ethnic, ambiguous, all these things. Mm-hmm. And it's not even a stereotypical role, but it's still like the diverse friend. And now it's almost too aware of itself, you know, because it's like, well, this person has to be diverse, which is great. Yeah. They should have diverse characters. But that's like the only roles I'm getting sent is like the diverse character. I'm like, you could send me another character. It doesn't have to be the South Asian, Middle Eastern, blah, 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 friend. So, no, it's not necessarily that. I'm just like, I don't know what it is. And, you know, maybe that's what I have to work on as an actor is getting better at just like, you know, fulfilling the role. I'd love my first big TV writing credit. So for me, like SNL is a dream because I do love sketches and stuff. I would love to write on late night or, you know, be in a room on a comedy TV show. Mm-hmm. And that's a really necessary experience for me to even pitch my own projects.
What did you write on recently?
What have I written on? Well, I'm about to write for the ABC Disney acting program, or ABC's having a diversity showcase, and they need writers to write the sketches for that. So I'm a writer on that.
Nice.
Been writing my own content for these brands that I'm doing stuff with. I haven't had any big TV writing things recently, but I pitched my own TV show last year.
Nice.
Just a couple places. Mm-hmm. Still shopping that around.
Mm-hmm.
And for the moment, I'm just going to focus on like stand-up. Because it's easy for me to do things in pockets, like really focus on writing or really focus on stand-up or really focus on sketch or whatever it is. And right now, stand-up is a thing. I want to have a new hour. So that's what I'm more focusing on.
Very cool.
Because I can't stand my own jokes. At this point, I said like it took me a minute to find my voice and then start, you know, creating projects, looking at my audience, etc. But now that I kind of have an idea what my voice is, it's like I got to up the ante and put out new content with that in mind. It's easy to just stick to the old stand-up and stick to the old whatever. So now, like, you know, the shows I performed last night and the night before, like, it was like all new materials. I've been workshopping things that kind of dive deeper into my perspective and my new sense of humor, you know, after having done stand-up for 5 years, 6 years. Oh my God, wait. I think it's my stand-up anniversary soon.
Mazel tov.
Thank you. Oh, I think it's tomorrow. Sick. So yeah, I'd like to really write on something, an act, or something, a big TV credit. I had my first TV credit last year. I filmed I wouldn't call it a special, but I filmed some stand-up in Dubai. I did stand-up in Arabic, and it was actually a really cool show. It was called the Stand-Up Sketch Show.
Okay.
It debuted on a streaming platform called Shahid, which is like the biggest one in the Middle East.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it was, so basically they had comics tell stories, and you would tell stand-up stories, and then they would jump cut to like actors acting it out. So basically it was like as if somebody was narrating a sketch using their stand-up. Similar to Drunk History, if you've seen that, how it's like there's one narrator, you know, and everybody else is kind of mouthing what the narrator is saying as they're acting in their scenes. So I'm essentially the narrator as the stand-up comedian, but I was acting in my own scenes as well. That was a lot of fun. It was my first time doing stand-up in Arabic ever. So, and it was my first time doing it, and we taped it, and I'd never even performed those jokes to an open mic. It was the most nerve-wracking. I don't recommend it. I do not recommend performing something that is being taped without ever having rehearsed it outside of yourself, in front of yourself in a mirror.
That is jumping into the belly of the lion, yes.
Wow, was I afraid. Wow, was I... Remember I told you like that my biggest fear is forgetting things?
Yeah.
Amplify that by 1,000,000, because now it's like... Arabic is my second language. I also speak Spanish, so like... Not only was I afraid that I would forget these very brand new stories that I had written, but I was afraid because I had to submit the script of the story ahead of time for approval.
Right.
So I could not deviate from the script.
Oh dear.
And if I did, like, you know, change a few words, fine. However, my control of the Arabic language is not similar to my control in English. So if I wanted to tell you a story, I could tell you the same story in 20 different ways in English. In Arabic, my vocabulary is very limited. So if I were to forget a word, I probably wouldn't have another word to substitute it for. So it was so terrifying. I was like, if I forget the word, I'm going to freeze on stage in front of people. And it's not like you're on set where you can just go cut. Right. All right, do it again. I performed a stand-up comedy show live, so I can't be like, sorry guys, what's the line? You're the only one making this happen. It was horrible. I mean, it was great, but so I was like so nervous, and I had gone to Dubai for the Dubai Comedy Festival. So for the first 10 days of that trip, I was performing stand-up in English. Mm-hmm. And then right after we would perform at like midnight, I would hang out with my friend Ali El Sayed, who's an amazing comedian out of Dubai, and he helped me write these jokes and translate them to Arabic. So I was like writing brand new jokes as I was performing at a festival, and then trying to memorize the jokes in my hotel room before I performed this. And so eventually we go on set, and we do like a mic test or a sound check. And the director's like, okay, tell me one of the stories. And I forgot it. I just froze. I was like, and then I said, and then he was like, and I was just like stuttering and staggering, and it was so bad. And so like, I think they were very nervous. Like the producers and the directors were like, what have we done? We shouldn't have taken a chance on her, kind of thing. So I'm in the green room before the show, my friend Ali is there, and I was like, hey man, can I just hold your hand for the next 20 minutes while I rehearse? Because I was like up next. And he's like, yeah. So I literally sat there and like holding his hand, just like to have some semblance of comfort. I was freaking the fuck out. As I'm literally sitting there, I'm like reading, just like he's like doing his own thing, talking to people, and I'm just like holding his hand, like shaking.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, and so finally, like, it was time to go up, and I went on stage, and I made a quick joke. Oh, sorry. In the sound check, in the mic test, he had told me, he was like, do you know what you did? You were nervous and you were stuttering. He's like, but the second you got the first laugh, you calmed down, and then you were able to continue. So just get your first laugh fast, so that you feel confident enough to continue. So when it, push came to shove and it was time to go perform, I got on stage and I was like, just get the first laugh. And I said the first joke, which was like, hey guys, I'm from Iraq, but I was born in America, which is why I sound like this. When I speak Arabic, I sound like somebody like trying to sell street food in a more colloquial, specific way that they understand. And they laughed at that because it's true. I sound like what Fez from that 70s show sounds like speaking English, but in Arabic. So I got that out of the way, and after I got that first laugh, it just clicked and I flowed, and I destroyed. I did so good. It was the biggest relief of my entire existence. I felt like I just gave birth or something. I was like, it's over. I went upstairs and I was like, oh my God. Oh, thank God, it's done. So it worked out for the best.
And that is Season 3, Episode 23 of the Producers Lounge podcast. Thank you to my guest, Reem Edan, for joining us. You can find out more about her by checking out the show notes and by subscribing to our YouTube channel at Greater Grander. Our intro and outro music today was Faster Does It by Kevin MacLeod. Our episode still image is by Ricardo Tomas on Greater and Grander. We'd love to hear from you, and you can check out this week's accompanying article on greaterandgrander.com entitled The 4 Comedy Spoof Formats You Need to Know. Link in the show notes. You can stay up to date by following us on YouTube and social media at the handle Greater Grander, all one word. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube or wherever fine podcasts are found. And also, if you like what we do, share this podcast with a group who you think will enjoy it. Join us next week for more cocktails and questions, and until then, keep producing dreams.